Hi, and welcome to Microsoft Power Tools channel, where you learn everything about analytics, automation, and productivity. In this video, I'm going to show you the practical SQL beginner tutorial using the Adventureworks database. This is part 1. However, this is the third of this series. And this is why I'm going to encourage you, if you have not done so, to go to the video description part now and click on the link to the first video where I showed you how to install Adventureworks database, and the second video where we learn together, we understand what Adventureworks database is all about, what the schema looks like, what are different tables, details about the business that was created around the Adventureworks database. So in this video, just to go in straight, learn what SQL is, and at the same time be more hands-on. A lot of people have been asking questions. When are we going to have the next video? When are we going to start writing the query? It took me so long, and I must apologize. I was being more dedicated to more of Power Automate training. It is also important that I let you know the vision, the mission for this video series. The end goal is so that you learn business analytics, business intelligence the right way. We conventionally, the video resources out there teach you how to do visualization using Power BI or Tableau by connecting to an Excel. But this time around, when you go to the workplace, however, when you go to the workplace, you get connected to the database. So this video is to get you solidified in SQL and end up, building visualizations using Power BI. All right, I must say thank you to everyone that have been supporting my channel. We're almost hitting 900. I hope you're going to contribute to that by subscribing, liking this video, and at the same time, giving out the support needed. All right. So in this video, we're going to cover two major things. First, the SQL anatomy, just a sort of breakdown of what SQL is all about, because I assume you're a beginner. Even if you're intermediate, you might have not learned SQL the right way. This can help you to consolidate your learnings and also give more confidence on what you know. And the second one is to learn by doing. We're going to write simple queries for the first part of this video. All right. So first, SQL is a database language which is used for query and manipulate the data in the database. So first, and that references us back to the word database. When you go to the workplace, yes, some workplace do work with Excel, but most of the time when you are employed as data analyst, you get connected to the database. And that is why before you even start plugging in your Power BI, you should understand database. And that's the essence. SQL is the database language, is the programming language for the database, and is one of the most widely used data programming language. Data scientists use it, data analysts use it, database engineers use it, or database administrators, even developers, backend developers, they also use it. So it's very, is widely used. How about the pronunciation? A lot of people call it SQL. SQL, SQL. And what does it mean? Structured query language. Don't forget, is what you use to interact with data that you have in the database, and a structured query language. SQL is primarily used in relational database management system. What do you mean by that? Remember, the data is stored in a database. Conventionally, the data you have in Excel, you just have all the things you need on that Excel sheet. But in the database, they are arranged different ways. You see different tables representing different things. The employee on different table, the transactions on different table, the customers on different tables, the products on different tables. They are all on separate tables, but these tables are connected together. They relate to one another, as you can see in the image at the right hand side there. That's why they are relational database management system. So in our DBMS, data is stored in multiple tables, like I've explained, but these tables are connected together. There's a defined relationship. That's why we have primary key, we have secondary key. The primary key is on a single table is the major ID on that table. This primary key will become a secondary key on the other table that you can connect it to. That way you'll be able to link two tables together. Take, for example, you have a customer table that has distinct customers on it, and you have the customer ID. And you have a transaction table called the sales table, and on that sales table you have, instead of you having all the details about the customer, they're already in the customer table. All you just have there is customer ID, and you have the transaction ID, the order ID, and other things you need. So easily, if you want to get the customer name, you can then use the customer ID to link back to the customer table from the other table so that I can have other details about the customer. That's just how things work out. And as a data analyst, as someone who's learning SQL or whatever part you are choosing on that data role, you want to know how to ask the right questions and having the right language to ask the right question in the database. This is why SQL is very important. So let's move forward as we keep learning more. There are a few things I want to quickly show you, which is very important to set the foundation. They are called languages, types of SQL commands. We have major 5 of them. We have the first one, the data definition language called DDL. It refers to, as you can see, the create, the drop, the alter, the truncate. These are the statements you write: create, drop, alter, or truncate. They consist of commands that can be used to define the database schema. These are what you will use to define the database schema. When you move on there, you see the DML, data manipulation language, which involve insert, update, delete. They help you to add, modify, or delete data itself. You are inserting data, you are deleting data, you are deleting table, you are updating, you are merging. They are majorly for manipulation. From data control language, it's for security controls, granting access, revoking access, controlling what person can have access to, what you cannot have access to. This is what the data control language is all about. I've not used that before because my role does not, lead me to one time or the other use it. We have the data transaction language, which is majorly for transaction purposes. We can see that the likes of commit, rollback, save point, the start. It helps you to manage transactions, operations which include more instructions. You are carrying out an operation that includes more instructions, which will allow you to commit whatsoever you've done at some point in time, roll back to previous version, save a particular point so that even if there was error, you can even go back to that last save point. All those kind of things help with transaction language. And lastly, we have the data query language, which from the word, the select, the show, and the help. The select basically gives instruction, is the major data query language instruction. It retrieve data that you need. Select so for me. The show help you to retrieve information about the metadata. Metadata are data about a data. They are data that helps you to understand better what that data means. And also the help is for people who need help. Right. So now that you at least know the different language commands, so you are not just typing them, they have functions. So before we move on as well, I need to explain briefly to you the data types, because every data on the database, they follow a particular data type. And when you are creating table, you are creating fields, you need to know what kind of data is going to be stored there, and that will determine the type of variable you are going to declare. And as well, when you are carrying out operation, depending on the type of data type, that will depend on what you can do. You cannot be adding phone number together. It doesn't make sense, because it's number does not mean you can add phone number and divide phone number. They are not numbers in reality. So these are the major data types you come across. The varchar, which is called variable character, joining character, which variable, which is numbers, joining variable plus text. So that's why you can see numbers. This number 0 to 9 does not necessarily mean numbers. It means like phone number, like the zip code. You cannot perform mathematical operations on them. We have alphabet, either the small letter A to Z or capital letter, or whatever your language, alphabet in your language, depending on where you're operating. We have the alphanumerics, alphabet and numerics. When you combine both of them together, they are no longer numbers. We have the special characters, my feature in terms of the data you are taking, e.g. gmail.com, at gmail.com. At is a special character, and the moment you are having a data that has at in the middle or anywhere, it just shows that data combines several things together, and that's a varchar. Example here: building capital letter program or land at Gmail 119. They have 119 is a call number, so in this case it's a call number, so it's not in 119. Okay. Integers are whole numbers, 0 to 9, in this case both positive and negative, and you can carry out mathematical operations on these integer values. So you don't go and save money under character. We all have currency, we have integer. Okay, they does not store decimal value because they are whole numbers. For date, there are a lot of date values. They are data for date format in SQL, depending on the the one database you are using, either Oracle, the way the date format follows is different from the way it is in MySQL and the rest. But of course, data still date. Once you learn the date format, anytime you are querying date, you need to know the right format to also describe your date. Float, this is the one that includes the decimal number. That's the difference between integer and float. So float includes decimal numbers, and yeah, they are numbers, but they have decimal places. They're also continuous. The last part here is Boolean. Boolean is just true or false. There is a logic part where you are trying to evaluate something to either true or is false. Okay. So let's talk briefly about database schema, because I just want to set that base to you for you. The second video I explained, I gave the diagram that described the whole Adventureworks database schema, how it looks like, the different connections across all the different tables. So I would advise you to go ahead and check that video. A database schema is a skeleton structure that represents the logical view of the entire database. You can then narrow it down again, because it defines how the data is organized and how relations how they relate to each other. Let me give an example of how it looks like. Look at this table, human resources.employee. We're going to come across, in fact, the first query we'll be writing and we touch base with this particular table. In this table, you can see the human resources is a schema definition. The table name itself is employee, is an employee table. Under where? Under human resources schema. Because we have sales, we see different schema definition. We have the sales, we have the resources, we have the production, and so on like that. All right, so it's time for us to start practice. And here we're going to, in this part 1, it's just simple select query and how to set alias and how to also concatenate string together in SQL. Right now I'm going to go to launch my SQL, and as you can see, I'm going to connect. All right, I've connected. So okay, just going to cancel this. You can see I'm connected, and these are databases. I have Adventureworks 2019. If I click on this plus, you're going to see different parts of the database. You can see the tables which I'm interested in. A lot of tables within Adventureworks. You can see the schemas. Do you see them now? The schema definition, human resources employee. You can see under person address. You can see production. You can see sales. But the table itself, they are the one after the dot. Those are the tables. But these are the schema. It helps you to organize, data, information within a database, and much more using for indexing. All right, let's just go straight. If I press Ctrl N, it's going to open up to me a window where a pane where I can start typing my code, or I just click on this new query. You can see Ctrl N or new query. So I've clicked on new query. The first thing we're going to do is just to select, and we can select anything from these tables that we have. But before you do anything, you need to tell my Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio that, okay, this is the database I'm talking about, because by default it's launching my master. And so if I select, okay, maybe how do I know? If I want to start with human resources employee, I can click here. Instead of typing it, hold and drag it here. Once I drag it there, so I want to save myself the stress of typing, so I can now type select star. I want to select everything. That's what I'm typing, select star from this table. Just give me everything in that table. But you can see it's still writing red. It will not run because it's loading from master directory, master database, which there's nothing like this there. So when I execute, it's going to bring error. So 2 ways for you to correct this is either you type use Adventureworks, is going to bring out if I use my tab, you're going to auto complete it. Adventureworks data, Adventureworks 2019. So in this case, automatically the red underline will disappear, because now it has validated that this database exists and this table you are querying is inside that database. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to comment this. How do I do that? By using hyphen twice. So you don't turn it to comment, and it's still bringing the error. So the other way to do it is come here to this branch and this connection and select Adventureworks, just to set it that, okay, load this query from the Adventureworks database, and I can easily click on the execute and it's going to run. Fantastic. So we see all the information we have about the employee within the human resources schema. All right, there are 290 and I can see them all here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is let's select just few columns we've selected everything still from this human resources.employee, but this time around we want to select few columns. I'm going to copy this and paste. Okay, so instead of selecting star, I'm going to select all few columns, which include, let me just select the login ID, comma, let me select the job title. What other columns can I select? A hire date. All right, from this table. So when I run this code now, it's going to just the 3 columns is return that back to me. Mind you, the reason why we are doing all this, questions beget query. Business questions beget query. There must be the question you are trying to answer. How many sales do we have? Can we have all the customers who have not bought product from us from last 3 months? Can we have the customers with active purchase whose order was cancelled? Can we have the, those questions is what will inform the kind of query you are writing. But the reason why we are starting from here is we just want to lay the foundation, get you, acclimatized to the simple statement, and later we take it from known to unknown. Okay. The next I'm going to do here with you is, let's restrict what we are selecting. This is return how many columns, how many rows, 290. Maybe because you just want to have a look at how it looks like and you are not interested, or you want to select just 10 or 20. So instead you can use 2 commands. You can use limit, or you can use top. I used to use top 10. So now I'm using top 20. So just select top 20. So I don't need 290. So this way, all the records you see here, they are 20. This select top 20. All right. So the other thing that we will also do here is let's try to see how we can use alias. Alias is just, you can rename a column. That's what you mean by alias, also known as. And to learn that, let us explore another table this time around. Let's look at the person.person table. You can see under the person, we have person.person. We have a lot of other things about the customer or person, which is generally everybody, because one of the things about Adventureworks database, it's a business, it's a bicycle manufacturing, it's a manufacturing company. And one of the things I described in the second video, I would advise you to check that, is that every employee is a customer. Every employee can be a customer. Every customer can be an employee. Every agent can be a customer. Agent that is supplying them something can also be a customer, can buy product from them. Everything just interwoven. That's why we have the person-to-person table that says everybody there. And you have let's just explore it first. Select star from person. Anytime you are trying to type something, this IntelliSense is helping you to bring them out. You can use the tab. Once it's on what you need, it will help you to fill it. .person. All right. Now that I typed person, you see within the person schema, these are the other tables. These are the tables you have there. All these other ones, they are views, but these are the major table. View, you can see V. I'm still coming back in another video to tell you more about views. You will learn that. So I'm interested in person.person. Yeah, that's the table. So let's run it. Oops, interesting. This table looks really, it's still loading. How many columns? How many rows? 19,972. We have more data here. You can see this is just all about person. Okay, it's all about person. So you can see first name, middle name, last name, a lot of things here that will even help us to learn. And you see person type. So this person type is very interesting. EM means employee. We have individuals. We have agent. We have all those things. They are all here. We're going to learn about how to use case to also strip that in the next video. But first, let's just use the alias because that's the goal here. I just want to select I want to select first name and last name, but this time around put them together. So how do you concatenate? That's it. So I'm selecting first name. So it's not suggesting that to me because it doesn't know which table. So sometimes you can write the table first. I'm not saying it's best practice, person.person. So when I'm now saying select first name, it's just going to be bringing out that thing to okay, when I say from, so it is easier to help me complete that. First name, yeah, space, no comma, last name. All right, first name, last name. From this you will see where what we are interested in is, okay, when I run first name and last name, I'm going to see first name, last name. Okay, I need them together, not separately. All right, sir. I just note. Okay, you need them together. Let me put them together for you. Okay, I have it here. Okay, to put them together, you need to concatenate. In Excel, you kind of use the alpha symbol, but here you use the plus sign. So I have the plus. So the plus will just concatenate them for me. Okay, you said you need it. Okay. Yeah. What? Ola, what did you give me? I don't even know the column name, what you have there. Where does the first name end? Where's the last name? This thing is just not rubbish. You see, you can get that kind of comment because you are not doing it the right way. Number one, when you join them together, because they are not a column that exists before. It's two things you are bringing together that makes up this column. You need to name it. And number two, there's no space. You can't even tell which one is which one is first name, which one is last name. All right. So we have two things to do here. We want to add space. So you have to concatenate space in between. So you need to add space in between. How do we do that? Space is just an empty character. So because it's a string, I will use the quote and leave a space and close the quote. So in between them, you can see there's a space. And also put the plus sign because we are concatenating three things together now. First name plus space plus last name. All right, so this will solve that, but that will not solve the alias for us, the column heading. So when you are done with the columns you are combining together, just say as, let's call this full name. All right, as full name. So join this thing together and call them full name. I can execute. Awesome. So we see full name, the column name is fine now. Our boss is now happy. Oh, I see them now. That's great, right? So this is where we stop here. It is just for you to get yourself into this environment and not to do too much. In the next video, I'll be picking most of those commands one by one, solve them. Another video, very short for you to consume and learn and understand from. Don't forget to like this video and also to subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're almost hitting 900, and the goal is, to hit that 1000, where I'll be able to create the community feature on YouTube and engage you people more. Ask you what you want me to do next, and you can respond to that. It's going to make a lot of sense, but today I cannot do that because I don't have up to 1000 subscribers on this channel. I believe you can make it so. And thanks to everyone that's been encouraging, this by commenting, by liking our videos, by also, sharing with other people. All right, great. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this. In the next video, we dive more deeper. Bye for now.